Compliance has to change the way that we see it, we that work in compliance, that we see it, because we have to, there's some CEOs today here, we have to explain to our CEOs that compliance is also an opportunity to improve our business and to make better business and secure business. You talked about sanctions coming and penalties coming. What is the cost of that penalties? What is the cost behind the penalties? Not only the money, but the reputation that you have in the market. When your company goes on the news and saying that you did something that you were supposed to do. Because imagine that your insurance company or your bank or your microfinance or credit association is connected to human traffic or to drug traffic. Your reputation goes low. And the penalty that it can arise may not be so significant as that, but the reputation involved can be seriously damaged. Another thing that I was expecting to say it in the end, I will say it at the beginning. Costs of having a solution like this. Yesterday I went to the internet, to the Google, and I went to see how much, for example, banks charge in account maintenance. And I saw that you charge for saving accounts, regular accounts, investment accounts, and depending from bank to bank, it goes from 3,000 shillings a month up to 6,000 shillings a month. A solution like ours, or better, our solution for a company that has, let's say, 500,000 clients, how much do you think it will cost by a client? We're talking about 800 shillings a year. So it's expensive, yes, but it's expensive if you not use it right. Like you said, if you don't have the right people, trained people, the process defined. So we are a technology company, yes, we sell a solution, but we try to get more involved with our clients, with our partners, as we like to call it, because we just don't sell the technology and put it in your laptop and say use it. No, our team that is managed by Sonia, that is there, that is managed by Sonia, has the concern, if you allow us, to work with you, to improve your process, to streamline the process, to tell you, I think that you should do this way or that way. Always having in mind that each company is a different company. Each bank is a different bank. Each insurance is a different insurance. Their business, their line of business, the way they do business, it's different. So we have to have that in consideration. So we at Dixtior, we built a solution, an AML solution, that it's comprehensive, going from KYC to transaction monitoring, all that it was spoken here, that was the challenges that you will face, that you face today, that we can do it just in one piece. Cyber security, another problem. How to solve it? Well, of course, we always are. Everybody is subject to cybercrime, even as in our cell phones, in our emails, every single day. We are receiving mails that is phishing. We are receiving virus. They are trying to steal our identity. So how can we protect that? In our side, VCS, our software, what we try to do is not to expose the solution to the internet. Okay, so basically the solution is inside of your bank. It's behind the walls of your bank, and it's not connected to the outside. Okay, so nobody from the outside can go to the bank. Even if they try to go through your firewalls, to everything that you have, once again, it depends on you if it's exposed or not. So we don't need to be exposed to internet and to those threats. Of course that we have security measures regarding privacy data, regarding the information that is inside of the tool. So basically what I want to tell you now, and then go to the presentation, is it's expensive? Yeah, maybe not. Remember, as I told you, 500,000 clients, we're talking about 800 shillings a year, 800 shillings a year per client, not per account, per client. So probably it's not that expensive, okay? So I think that we have also to demystify that the costs are huge, okay? So how are things moving today? Once again, we talk here about artificial intelligence, we talk about machine learning, and how can we put these in to be useful to our systems? Well, everybody's doing it. Google now launched a service, for example, specific for AML, but you have to connect to their cloud, to send all the information to them, and I think that will not be possible, and in my opinion, I have some doubts that that will be completely secure, because we are sending all the information somewhere in the United States, where all the guys are putting the information, and what do they do with that information. So we have to be careful with that. Once again, we do it everything on your premises, okay? We don't need to go around. But we use artificial intelligence, of course, to detect patterns, to detect anomalies. We'll see it up front. Machine learning. We also use machine learning, but we prefer to use supervised machine learning. Meaning what? Meaning that the system will learn with you. Will learn with your own cases. Will learn with your own people how to get the best results, to reduce the workload that you have. At the end of the day, using a system like this, it's to have a reduced workload, to have better alerts, and for your work to be performed in an easier way, in a faster way, that you can reply to the authorities. But now I want to think in another thing. Are we doing compliance because FIA or the Central Bank of Uganda obliges us, or FAT obliges us to? Should that be the only reason for us to be compliant? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's my first time in Uganda, so if I say something that it's not enquadrated with your reality, please forgive me, but I will try to explain my ideas. Let's imagine a bank here in Uganda. That tries to, I saw that you export coffee, a lot of coffee. And you export coffee probably to Europe, to the United States. And when you are making if you have a client that produces coffee, it tries to sell the coffee, will get through a bank to have a credit letter, so to have an agreement with the guy in Europe, in Portugal, for example, where I come from, that will buy the coffee, okay? So we will have a transaction probably done in euros or in dollars, and you will have to connect to a bank in Europe or in Lisbon or in the United States, wherever, to establish that agreement. Our question of reputation, our compliance, is what the other bank will see and will allow us to do or not to do the business. So, if we are not compliant, if you don't have a good compliance, we are losing business. We are losing business. In the other way, insurance companies, you told about billions and trillions. I believe that also the insurance companies, of course, they need to get funding. They need to get the money to survive and to give the insurance to the policy insurances. They have to have money. They have to invest that money. And once again, they will try to invest where it is more profitability, where it's more secure. And if we are not compliant, if we are in a grey list, we will have more difficulty in finding those good deals or those good funding. So compliance is all about making our bank, making our insurance company with a better reputation in the market so that we can access new business or access new funding. So, of course, FIA has its responsibility to imply you to apply with the rules that are, I imagine, issued by the Central Bank of Uganda. But it should be more. You should do it not because FIA is obliging you. You should do it because it's good for your bank, it's good for the business. At the end of the day, if you want to think in a different way, when we apply good measures in AML, we are fighting human traffic, we are fighting drug traffic, we are making the society better. At the end of the day, that's what happens. Because when you fulfill the SARS, when you make the reports to the FIA, what they will do is they will look at it, they will investigate it, and if they see or they think there is some criminal activity going behind, they will prosecute it, or they will send it to the authorities that should prosecute them. So we are contributing for a better environment on our economy, in the Ugandan economy, in the Ugandan society. So if we understand this, we can better protect ourselves, and we understand better the business that are being made with our clients. The same thing should be done, and I believe that FIA will request you in the next years also to do that with more strength, is to look at your partners, at your providers, at your suppliers. All the chain of business has to be very well known, okay? Because you can be being used by a supplier also to do some criminal activity. Understanding AML, so 3 things: customer identification, risk management, and monetization of transactions. I think these are the 3 main topics and after a year you can put it down, drill it down into more deep things. The AML software should automate this process and provide alerts when something strange happens. So the benefits that you get from an AML solution is basically respond to regulatory requirements, reduce the risk of financial crimes, improve your customer due diligence, and enhance operational efficiency. Look, a system that is connected to the core banking or to the core of the insurance company, it will have all the information. So we can, like the same way that we have models predicting that it can be a transaction that can be suspicious because of some crimes, we also have information to tell you, for example, that look, this guy probably will quit working in your bank in the next 6 months. Or we can tell you, look, this guy should have a credit account that he doesn't have, because we have all that information. So once again, using compliance for business, because all the information is at your hands. So a compliance solution is more than just responding to requirements. So the most important part is choosing the right AML software. Of course, I will tell you the right AML is DCS, okay? I'm here to do that. Don't take me wrong. When you're choosing an AML, it has to handle with large volumes of data. It has to integrate with existing systems. I was last Friday, it was Friday, I believe, with the team from FIA, from the IT of FIA. And we were talking about this question, about how the reporting can be improved, how the FIA is still, I'm saying something that I shouldn't, sorry, how the reporting should be better with more data. That's what you are providing now. And when I say you, it's not somebody in particular, it's the full picture, the global picture. And the guys from FIA will think, well, these guys are not responding because they want. And the guys from the bank or the insurance company are saying, I don't have the information, or I don't have the information at my hand, or I don't have automatized system, so some mistakes can happen when I'm making it manually and producing the report manually. So that's what we try to avoid with this. But it's relevant that it's not integrating with the core system, it's integrating where you have the information. It's important to understand where the system has to be integrated to retrieve the information, to deal with information that is crucial for preventing crime. So it should provide real-time monitoring. And some issues arise here about real-time monitoring. You will see some guys saying, well, it's not quite that important, we should use it only for one type of transactions. Forget it. With real-time transaction monitoring, every time that it's technically possible, it will help you to avoid things to happen, because we can stop transactions before they are delivered to the clients or before they enter in the account of the client. So we have that capability of suspending a transaction, blocking a transaction, making decisions. Because remember, one of the things that the banks and insurance companies are allowed and are recommended to do is to say no. Is to say, I don't want to work with this guy. The risk of working with this guy or this company is too high. I don't want to make this transaction because the risk of the transaction is too high. It's written there. The banks should be able to do this. I'm not saying any lie, am I? So, once again, it's important, real-time monitoring can allow you to do this. And of course, have robust reporting capabilities. At the end of the day, we have to report. At the end of the day, we have people from FIA. The insurance, you told me that you have several supervisors. It's not here only. In Portugal, insurance companies have 3 different supervisors. Okay, so then they have to answer to a lot of things. It's a problem also in Europe. The supervision of insurance is trying to be aggregated, but it's still always a confusion because politics gets involved. So we have 3 companies that the guys with a large importance, and suddenly just one will stay there. So you have to take this with a little bit of care. Well, it is what it is. So what are the steps for implementing a KYC strategy? Because the question is about strategy. The question is, how should we do things? And I would like to show you 3 steps, just 3 steps. The first one is access the current process, the KYC process that you have. We should start by looking at what are you doing, what are the gaps that you have, where it can be improved, and how it can be done in an easy way that doesn't impact business. Look, of course, it's quite relevant, like the gentleman from FIA says, to know the customers, to identify the customers, to make this identification. But if suddenly you take 3 days to open an account or to provide an insurance, they will go to the other door and opens the account or buys the insurance, the policy in another company. So we have to do it, but we have to do it right and fast without implying on business. And this is a challenge. The second step is to select the right KYC software, once again, that aligns with organizations, that can allow you to stream all this process, to have it, the process all integrated, working in a flux that guys from that are on the branch, opening an account, selling a policy insurance, they can do the job in a fast way, and something happens, the guys in compliance team will receive an alert and they can solve it quickly and give an answer to the client. And the third step is training. And of course awareness are crucial. So once again, we can have the best AML software, by the way it's DCS, but if your people is not trained, if your people doesn't know what to do, what they are looking for, what should they look for in a KYC process, the software is doing nothing. Okay? Artificial intelligence is now a question that, as you said, it can replace, people are afraid that it can replace people, that it can replace ourselves, so that we have machines working instead of us. No, I think that will replace people that doesn't know how to work with machines. That's the big difference. So the main step is to use all these in our favor and not be afraid of technology, but use it to improve our way of working and to make our day better. So the benefits that you get from here, implementing, it will go with some benefits. I would say regulatory requirements, reduce your risk of fraud, improve customer due diligence, and enhance operational efficiency. Once again, when a guy comes to open an account in a bank and he says, okay, I want to open an account here because I will receive my salary on this account. So what do they expect to be the use of the account? He will receive the salary, probably will pay the rent of the house, he will buy the food, the things for the daily to day, pay school to the kid. That are the usual expenses that the guy has. If possible, it will make some savings, if possible. So that's what we expect from this type of account. If suddenly he's receiving not one salary, but a lot of transactions there, so he's doing everything different from what it was supposed to happen in a current account, that should trigger an alert. So knowing our client, we know how to expect what is the behavior that we'll have when transacting with our bank, depending on the product that he's buying, of course. The use of software can automate and streamline, we already said that. Additionally, we provide real-time monitoring. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to build is trust and confidence in the financial system and the financial authorities. That's the main goal, okay? You will see it's repeated along this presentation, these words. Now, transaction monitoring. Once again, some steps in implementing transaction monitoring. Real-time is a critical process. We already saw that. Allows institutions to detect and prevent fraudulent activities, money laundering, terrorist financing, as they happen. The second step, select the right monitoring software, of course, that has to align with organization needs. And once again, when we start talking when we talk about here with insurance and transaction monitoring, it's also relevant. Real time, it's not that crucial for insurance companies, okay? But the way of the payments in life insurance, mainly in life insurance, when you have to pay the price, when the client requests the price for something that happened, that transaction should be monitored. Of course, it will pass through a bank, so you always have a monetization, but you have to understand if suddenly there are not a change in what was said before, it was the beneficiary, through which account should the money go. So there are several things that can happen, and of course the time when that price is required should be taken in consideration. And for that, once again, we have to have historical information to detect patterns, as we told, to understand if it makes sense or it not makes sense. Okay, so that's the main point. So transaction monitoring in real time in insurance companies is not that crucial, but in banks it is, or payment systems, or credit. And the third step, once again, training. Once again, it's not just putting the system looking at the transactions. You know what we are looking at those transactions. People have to understand what are, to understand what is behind the lines, read behind the lines. You know, you look at the transaction, the SWIFT, all the message, and you have to understand what's happening. And for that, once again, how do I understand it? By knowing my customer, by knowing the business of my customer, to know what he usually does. So, training and awareness is crucial. Benefits of real-time transaction monitoring. Helps institutions comply, avoid penalties, that's one of the points, and identify and prevent fraudulent activities as they happen. Additionally, real-time monitoring can provide valuable insights to customer behavior, as I was saying. If I have, now going for example for a credit company, if I have a client that usually pays regularly on the day that she should pay, but suddenly starts to pay 2 days later, 3 days later, I can, with that information and the historical data from all the institution, try to understand if it's just with a small problem, that it's momentary and things will go back again to what was usual, or if it's an indication that this guy could default in 3 or 4 months. Okay, we don't want to replace credit risk management, no, but it's important also for the compliance team to understand what's happening, and to talk with the guys from credit risk and see if they have the same opinion, so that they can take preventive measures. You know that credit, one of the ways that doing money laundering with credit is, for example, I request a credit for buy a car. I will pay it in 4 years, your credit. I never pay the first installment. I never paid. You start going behind me, back to me, and requesting you have to pay, you have to pay, you have to pay, and suddenly I go there and pay the full credit, and one time, probably in cash, and you will accept it because you are losing money. And this is a way of making money laundering. Okay, so understanding the behavior once again is crucial for transaction monitoring. Another thing is sanctions. Sanctions are everywhere. Today we have, of course, the ones coming from UN. You have now the Russian war. Sometimes we have things with the Chinese, then we have things with the Cubans, then we have things with Iran. It's not easy to get to be fully updated with all these sanctions, and the system here, it's crucial to help you to maintain your monetization, okay? So, we are not a data provider. There are a lot of data providers, but it's crucial that this system can connect to several databases that can manage several information, that you are always compliant to what's happening. Of course, once again, the team of compliance has to understand what are the sanctions that apply to them or not, and to define what has to be done. So transaction monitoring avoid this in real time, allow us to block transactions in real time. So if something is happening there, so we are dealing with a guy that is sanctioned, a person, a company, products, once again, it was sold proliferation. The proliferation is looking at the words, at the products that are being sold or that are involved in the transaction. All of that can be done in real time because you can check all the information that goes in the transaction. This can help institutions, once again, to avoid the risk of penalties. Legal action, reputational damage, all that's what comes with the negative things that come with this. Still going on sanctions, what we intend with the solution like this is to mitigate the risk of sanctions to your bank. Selecting the right monitoring software, testing and integrating the system. Okay? The benefits of real-time transaction monitoring: reducing the risk of financial losses, complying with regulatory requirements, of course, and gaining, once again, valuable insights about your customers, about your business. Well, and in conclusion, this is mainly what a software should do. It's what our software does, and it's how we believe that it can help you in being compliant with all the rules, not only the ones that are coming from FIA, but the ones that we should follow as human beings, as persons that want a better environment, a better economy, a better place. FIA reporting at the end, but not of least importance, in the contrary. It's important, as I told you at the beginning, to have a strong reporting tool on the system, and that is all about And the reason for me and Sonia to meet with the guys from FIA last Friday, it was that to understand what are their needs, what they are looking for to receive from you, what is the information that they want, how can we do it, how they would like to have it, okay? And with that information, we can adapt the system to be better fit to their needs, but also that can solve a lot of problems to you. A lot of reporting is requested. Daily transactions in cash, the SART, the STRs, all this information can be produced automatically and directly integrated with Go AML from FIA. Okay, so that's the point of the reporting. I have some more thoughts here, but that's something that you already know. Saldis, we can share then the presentation if people want, okay? And I won't borrow more with this. Look, I said it can be automatically done, but it doesn't replace people, once again. If we have to fulfill a suspicious transaction or a suspicious activity, at the end of the day, the compliance team or the compliance manager will have to say his opinion, to write what his understanding of the process and saying why is it reporting it, okay? I would like also to launch a challenge to FIA. When we talk about better insights, better information, usually with what happens is every single institution reports to the central to the FIA. So they have a lot of information also. We don't need to know what they do with that information. Okay, we don't need to know. Some of them are going to an investigation process. Some of them they consider that it's nothing, fortunately. But the full picture of what every bank is reporting could be interesting for us to define patterns in the national sense. So, if a bankers association, an insurance association, according with the central bank and FIA, can make an agreement to use that information anonymously, of course, without sharing, assuming that all data protection is warranted, that information can be also useful to detect patterns in our market, in the Ugandan market. Okay, so that's something that you can also think about it and provide it as a service to other banks. Of course, you cannot do it if banks also don't want to do it. But altogether, we can, and this can improve. And I think the only countries that are trying to do this now is the Nordic countries, Denmark, Sweden, and Finland. They are trying to build something like that. Okay. So once again, what are the reporting challenges? We have talked about data quality. We have talked about integrations with the systems. Cultural changes, also a big question. The first time we work a lot in Africa. Dixtior works a lot in Africa. We started by working in Portuguese-speaking countries: Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, São Tomé e Príncipe, and it was there where we started. We like to be in Africa. We like to work in Africa. We are committed to Africa. And at the beginning in Angola, for example, when we started putting our solutions, the guys from the FIU in Angola talked to us and said, "Okay, wonderful, your solution is working, but we have to make them report more." Report more. Why? Because one bank gives us 3 suspicious reports a year. Why? It was cultural. They were afraid of reporting. The understanding that reporting was something that the bank was doing wrong. So you have to change their mind and say, no, you are defending yourselves every time that you report. If you don't report, you are putting your bank in jeopardy. So, but in their mind, it was, if I am reporting, it's because the bank is doing something wrong, so I won't report it. So, cultural changes. You have to understand, it's important to have a straight line of communication between the supervisors and insurance, banks, everybody, financial institutions. And of course, I'm being boring with this, right? Training, awareness, training. I'm always repeating that. We have 3 laptops there. At the end of our meeting, you can go there, you can play with us in the system, make the questions that you want, put your hands on it. Also insurance, of course. Because for us, a transaction is a transaction. The difference is when you see an account or seeing a policy, it's the name that is written there, okay? So it's basically the same thing. So, main functionalities of our system: artificial intelligence, statistical models for risk assessments, and once again, we cannot do the full work for you, we can help you. But when we do a risk assessment, we have to look at the products, at the branches, at the localization. What is the channel that the client is entering from? Where he's moving? If he has access to internet banking, Is he using the internet banking here in Uganda, or the guy is in Kenya, or is in Lisbon, or whatever? All this information has to be used for doing a good risk assessment, okay? So that's why the statistical models are here. Real-time behavioral risk assessment. Things change daily. Things change. The economy changes. The market changes. So it's quite relevant that the team of compliance has a risk that it's daily updated for the client according to his behavior. Detection of atypical transactions in real time, I already told about that. Real-time transaction analysis, based on defined scenarios. You can define the scenarios, the thresholds that we were talking about, build specific scenarios. We can build specific scenarios for different industries, for different segments of clients, for certain types of accounts, certain types of investment accounts, saving accounts. All this is possible to work. And the 360 evaluation of transactional history, accruals, new products, use channels, as I was saying. This on the transaction side. On the KYC side, that's red and blue that you saw here. Verification of customer data against lists in real time, every time. There's a change on the list, we'll warn you if something happens to your client. If a sanction is raised, if some crime it was made, we can do this validation and tell you what happened. If the client changes some information, got married, changed the name, changed countries, changed residence, changed profession, this also implies with the risk, and so all of this is done automatically. You don't have to do it manually. When we receive the information, it will be processed automatically. Real-time sanction monitoring, once again, daily update of customer, and counterpart analysis on real-time transactions against this. So all information regarding your transactions and your customers will be always updated. I told you, I could now show you some pictures of, you already have seen it on the screen, saying what we have. We have computers there. We are open to any questions that you might have. I will not bother you more with my voice and speaking. To tell you, I want to finish once again saying this. Thank you, Saldis, once again for being together with us. I had meetings with 3 banks already last week, and what we felt, me and Sonia, what we felt, it was that you look at providers, and I have to agree with you, and say, okay, they came here, you sell a solution, the CEO, it's me, comes very beautiful in a suit, presents everything, but you sell the software, and after that you go back to Lisbon and never see you again, right? And that is a problem. I told to the clients that the potential clients that I visited, I agree with them, but we don't do that. And it's not me saying it. What we can do is to give you the contacts of our clients in Africa. And we also have one in East Timor. 9 hours difference in time from Lisbon. So it's morning there, it's evening on Lisbon, so it makes things difficult. But even there, we are always present. What do we mean with this? We come here to stay here. We come to Uganda, and if we have to one of us as our partners, clients, we will work with you, and we are always present when you need. So we are not leaving you. Our way of selling it's also a little bit different, and the way that we sell the solutions is always also to show you the compromise that we have in long terms with our customers. Okay, so I won't bother you with that now, but if somebody has curiosity, me and Sonia and Saldis, we are available for any questions that you may have. Thank you so much for your attention.